All right, what is up, YouTube, and probably Instagram by the time this gets here. All right, so I'm gonna update. I've been on last week, so we got absolutely no content last week. That was for a specific reason. After some diverse conversations and running some things by people, looking at myself objectively, and speaking with the coach, I've decided to pull out of season A25 for very specific reasons that we'll get into. But with the essence of always trying to be transparent and make sure that we're being open and honest about things and the way we do stuff here at Matter and what we want to share. The journey to stage inherently is part of that open transparency in the conversation. So pulling out was not an easy decision or conversation that I made. Looking at everything that was asked of me, looking at everything that we had set up in my system, my routine, my lifestyle, business, work, etc. Everything was designed in a way to maximize productivity of the season. I had never been more accountable. I know for a fact at every point this season that I really could not have done more or been more accurate in terms of accountability and consistency. Nothing was missed. I think I missed one training session due to sickness, and I still managed to achieve steps, cardio, macros, and nutrition, and sleep. So nothing was actually missed bar that one training session where it was illogical to get to go train in the condition that I was in for one day. But what, as you've been following from this point, you would have seen weeks where we pulled out of WA. I didn't feel that we were going to land in time where WA was worth the travel and the costs to myself, to the business, etc. And so that was the first point where we pulled out, and just wanted to focus on Queensland. Now, I think we were at 14 weeks into prep. We had about 7.5, 6 kilos, from 6 to 7 kilos given any given day, to still pull down to make weight cap and make under 90s, which in Australia is the light heavyweight division. With the intention of doing opens, I was always going to do opens. I wasn't just competing to do novice. And maybe depending on how stretched out I was and how loose my body was, 87 kilos for classic physique. The interesting response that we were having to the system at play didn't seem to work the way that we thought it would. And basically we were kind of recomping for a big chunk of time. Weight was holding, which was quite interesting, but body fat and condition was drastically changing. The thing for me was the look that we're going to produce going to be at my absolute best, and what was going to be required to get there. Now, once we caught up and had a conversation, it was evident that I hadn't had a diet break for a while. Had a few incremental refeeds, but I hadn't had like a large break of diet. And I did notice that, for full accountability and honesty, that things like food focus was creeping up, diet fatigue was kicking in. Yes, I could have done it, but at the same time, it was starting to get impactful. We'd moved back up to 220 carbs, but somehow, the body was playing games, just kind of holding weight. And it got to a point where rate of loss was looking at, 7 kilos, give or take, maybe more, maybe less, in 8 weeks. And at that present point, the body was seemingly losing weight at about 250 grams a week, but body fat was changing. What the deciding factor for me was to make weight and improve condition. What it was going to take, it wasn't we didn't have options, or that I couldn't diet hard enough, or that I wasn't willing to not suffer or go through things. It was, what was it going to cost me to get to stage, and was that stage going to produce my best look yet and give me a genuine chance at being competitive in the under 90s division. I'm past the point in my career where I wanted to simply do shows for experience. I wanted to simply get up on stage. If I'm not in contention for the best possible position, I don't want to do it. I'm willing to give everything and sacrifice everything in order to get there. And I just don't know that in the time frame we had left, was that going to happen? With in mind what it would take to get there. So when we looked at, a diet break would have been an option, would have been good. And then returning to a very, very aggressive deficit for likely what would have been, and probably an increase in cardio for what would have been likely the remainder of prep. With 11 weeks still to go in the season, and having already been in prep for 14 weeks, including maintenance, bridge, and deficit, that, considering the noticeable differences I was starting to feel in energy, mood, exhaustion, tiring out, peopled out, generally just the consequences that come with prep, which I've talked about 100 times, I'd noticed that it was going to become worse in order to get there. And something that I've always been transparent about across all parts of this prep, all parts of building up to prep, and any prep, as we've had clients, is that if prep comes at the cost of client quality and client delivery, client experience, and business acumen, I don't want to do it. My objective responsibility, first and foremost, my priority, is to the people that we serve and the promise that I'm going to be able to deliver my absolute best. Now, yes, in a prep, you're expected to be tired. That's going to happen. Clients were aware of that. I've been mitigating it quite well so far, using supplementation where I need to, cognitive boosters, things like that, nootropics to help out. But at a certain point, 11 weeks, 10 weeks of 50 grams carbs, 100 grams carbs, increased cardio, etc., will definitely start to add up. Whether that be my shortness in mood, whether it be my energy for clients, whether it be my check-in quality, whether it be acquisition of new clients, whether it be my upskilling education, all those factors started coming into play. And if the body hadn't responded yet, the added stress of increased workload, February through to July is usually a larger period for us as opposed to December, January. And then on top of that, returning to uni for the start of semester next week, which would be the last week of February by the time this comes out, that would have been an additional 7 weeks of prep with university on top of current workload. So the added demand that was going to increase as I was drastically continually taking away from my emotional, cognitive, and psychological bandwidth was going to be quite intense. And to me, the juice was not going to be worth the squeeze to risk what we were doing, the delivery to our clients, to our system, in order to get to stage this time. So, it was a lot to sit with and think about. It wasn't a rushed decision. It was weighing up a lot of data and a lot of data points and assessments, looking at rates of loss, looking at potential risk of tissue, looking at how that look would have produced, levels of fatigue, exhaustion, dieting, hunger, energy availability for cognitive function, for just life function, maintaining relationships, etc. All these things contributed to the decision to pull out. Obviously we have commitment to sponsors, we have people things that we push, the YouTube content and stuff like that we promise you guys a stage physique. And so it's not something that I easily sat with. I love competing, I love the getting on stage, I love the idea of comps. But to me, it's towards a progressive outcome. To me, it's towards a specific outcome. And it needs to be that every single time is the intention of being better. And whilst it was the intention, with what was required with 10 weeks left, it was, is this going to be the best look that I've ever produced? Would it be competitively division-winning quality with the size that I was bringing? And that was where all these data points started contributing to the equation, and then looking at it objectively and just saying, with even Tom competing this season, I want to make sure that I'm able to bring my best for him. And mentally, it just started to weigh on me that I wasn't, if all of that sacrifice came in and I wasn't able to get up there and produce my absolute best, then not only would it not be worth it, the sense of guilt that I would have towards my team would just be overwhelming. Yes, it's a selfish sport and sometimes you have to be selfish about it, but we have a very flexible lifestyle. We have a very flexible system that we've built to sustain, obtain that outcome. And if it was going to implicate that, then yeah, just to me, it wasn't worth what could be happening. So basically decided to pull out last week. I went into a diet break. Plans going forward is step back from SCAF for the moment. If I'm not sure where I'm going and what I'm doing, and to reassess that, I'm more than capable of finishing off my own cut and deficit. So I do still need to get lean. I do still need to get stage level lean. It just won't be for stage. It won't be in the time frame for stage. It will be in a way where I can control things a little bit slower, keep cognitive function, keep business function, keep acumen, keep study up, that sort of thing, and pull down to a very decent level of conditioning, lock that in, and then from there push back up to a sustainable maintenance condition that, puts me in a striking distance whatever I decide to do next. So, we might do 2026, I might do 2027, who knows? So for me, being transparent about that, being open about that as to where my head was at and what I was feeling, because not all preps are smooth, and I'm very well aware that preps will suffer and preps will be hard. It was 6-8 weeks of my last prep. I did 50 grams of carbs. It was 12 weeks. My first ever prep where I was pushing 100 grams of carbs, including vegetables and fruit. So I'm not oblivious or ignorant to suffering to get on stage. It's will that suffering be worth the outcome? And will that outcome come at the risk of all of the things that we have built? And when my ethical, moral, and business responsibility is to people that I serve and other people, it can't be that absolute of a trade-off. So yeah, focus will be, taking care of the team we have now. We've got clients going through season A, B, and C for the IFBB, for the natural world, and for the enhanced world as well. So our focus is on those guys and getting everyone there in the best possible shape and best condition we can bring. And yeah, in the background of that, I'll run myself, my own thing, take care of that, get lean. It'll be fun just to program for myself again for the first time in a while. I'm going to do some content looking at how I would assess my physique, what I need to improve before I compete again, and what I want to do if I pull that trigger, and where that goes. So there's definitely areas that I know I need to improve and bring up. I'll go through that with almost like my own check-in basically, and upload that, and then use that as kind of like a gauge for how I view things and what I'm seeing that needs to change. So yeah, basically I still need to get lean. I'm still going to run a deficit. I'm going to probably spend anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks at a diet breaks, like maintenance, just to offset fatigue. I am very fatigued. I'm very tired. I know that my body was starting to hit it. The thing with white line fever, objective, outcome goals that I like to work towards, is very easy for me to lock in. And then once the brain switches off, it's kind of like, okay, that's done. Once I made the decision, there was no going back, which is why I need to make it weighed up very heavily. But once the decision was made, the fatigue starts to creep up, all the things that I had basically just buried to get through it. Not buried as in repressed, but just simply there is stuff you have to grind through. That is a prep. You have to get through. You're going to suffer and hurt, and the body's going to ache and be tired. So there's things where it's just like, there is no point dealing with you because it's just an everyday occurrence. Those things were happening, and obviously now that the objective outcome has kind of shifted, that stuff is definitely rising. So diet break is needed. Treatments are still going to stay. Basically, my plan is to keep everything as I had structured it, because that is the life that we have built. I'm going to push myself to get to that position where it's like, okay, you're 2 to 4 weeks out from show, and the condition reflects that. I need to get chiseled legs, vascular legs, bring the condition out of my midsection, out of my chest, get the vascularity out, and just show that taper and width to my back. Really see what the condition looks like, and then make that assessment of what does post-diet look like in terms of structuring my physique and what I need to improve, because I need to be improving now. Age is creeping up, experience is creeping up, and it's now time to deliver and really push my physique to the level that, that maturity, that 35 to 40 becomes a very competitive career point for me. So that's where it kind of is. For us, there is no other time now really outside of season A, unless I finish uni to compete. So season B or C, too many other clients, and obviously everyone else comes before I do. That is just a responsibility of a coach. Season C, back end of the year, a lot of uni, a lot of exams, full semester, client preps, onboarding clients before the Christmas period. Middle of the year is travel. We can still go across to America. We've got workshops to run, seminars to run. We've got other clients competing in the new mid-year season now that we have in Australia. So there's a lot of stuff happening as we're growing the company, pushing our clients, helping people keep accountable. And the high performance individuals that we work with require me to be at my highest level of performance. So being aware that, yes, you will lose a degree of performance. I think I still operate at quite a high level that it's okay to drop back a few notches, but it's not where I'm willing to underperform and undervalue my team, underprovide for my team at the same price point. So the thing for me is I need to ensure that I'm operating at my highest level for the people that we take care of, which are very high performing individuals or people we are building towards being high performing. So that's where it kind of is. That's where things are up to. There's going to be a lot of content still coming out. We're still going to do a prep series, still going to do a vlog series. We're going to probably keep that going well into the off season and into the year. This has been some of our best content and engagement with you guys via YouTube, and just being open and transparent about that. I think we're just going to log my way to a winning physique. I'm going to log my way to a winning business and a winning degree. People say, how do you win at that? But to me, it's a competition. I compete with myself and I compete with other people in the classroom to make sure that I bring my best. We'll still be keeping this stuff coming and showing up. I'm going to take you guys through even like my own check-ins when they happen sometimes, and to see what I'm seeing and how I would assess it. And then, make sure that I'm still bringing my absolute best to university. So that's the other side as well. The point of my career, my education now, my degree, if I'm sacrificing high marks of GPA to get on stage, I'm sacrificing future goals for present results. And that's just something that I'm not willing to do in most instances. I can deliver most degree grades. My GPA is still sitting on quite well. I think I'm sitting at a 5.2. I need to sustain that to look at postgraduate options for myself as the years go on. So I only technically have 2 years at part-time left. So these subjects start to add up and contribute to my overall GPA and final grade, which will then allow me to push into postgraduate programs, masters, honors, doctorates, and things like that. So, objectively, the outcome is a doctor of psychology, performance psychology especially, and that is something that I would like to have in my repertoire. To me, these things just weighed up where it wasn't worth making those sacrifices to get on stage yet. And there's still going to be options, still things to assess and break down. Being me, my plans will have plans, and I'll figure that stuff out and get very, very, very clear on where we're going and what I do next. For now, it's more so focused on Tom, focused on Pete and Amy, focused on the Season C clients, focused on everyone that's working with us day to day, and really make sure that we're bringing our best. So just an update there, full transparency for everyone. Season is over, but that means my work is not done. I will get basically stage lean. It'll just be in a different time frame than what was available for stage, which is what led to the decision, is that, there's just basically the time that we had, the aggression that we required wasn't there. So that's basically where we are. I'm going to capture some content, some training, check-ins, some day stuff across the day that we're doing, and just keep you guys up to date, and we'll go from there.